Now, the goal is for you to be the power in your life. And a very important part of vetting and being that power in your life is mastering your mental emotional environment. I want to give us some general understanding of how our brains actually work when it comes to our thoughts, emotions, feelings, and the choices that we make. This is a quick session on brain function in general, and more importantly, one of the most powerful parts of your brain, which is your emotional center called the limbic system. Remember, I'm not your health provider or your mental health provider, and I suggest you consult your regular doctor and or therapist and psychiatrist. Have you noticed that we're constantly being told as Black women and Black girls that, oh, we're being too emotional and we're operating from our feelings and we shouldn't do that. What we should just mainly focus on is being logical and that. In other words, we shouldn't trust our own natural, powerful instincts. So let's clear that up right now. Your feelings are under your power. It's definitely true that a situation or a person can be a catalyst to evoking your feelings and emotions. I'm going to introduce you to the cognitive triangle used in cognitive behavioral therapy. It's important that you gain in self-mastery of your mindset, in other words, beliefs, so that your emotions and feelings can work for you because that's actually what they're designed to do. Then you can be the power in your reality and your environment, and you can respond versus react. I'm going to repeat this in several sessions, of course. Vetting is like a vaccination series against narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. It's not a matter of when either of the three of these types of people will harm you. It's just a matter of time and an understanding that they will harm you. We're vetting to make your world safer for you. That's why feelings ID and feelings and emotion ID are so important. And we cover that in the check-in session. Remember, I want you to come back and check in after each of the other sessions as well. And rating your emotional pain is so important, right? We introduce you to different sets of tools. Now we're going to talk about why we need to use these tools. Vetting as a kind of mental vaccination requires the ability to detect, to prevent, and or mitigate any damage of these three types of personalities. We're conditioned to believe that we're just reacting to a situation or an encounter with another person, and that person and or situation caused us to have thoughts, then feelings that evoked emotions, and then we reacted to the situation or the person at hand. What actually happens is your brain is designed to take in information from your diverse senses. It's designed to think, and arguably the most powerful part of your brain produces feelings and thus emotions. Understanding this means that you have the power to choose to respond versus react to a situation or another person's behaviors. We possess the power to affect our environment and thus others. Let's do a quick rim shot of your brain function. If you want to, please take the time to pause this area and read the different parts of what your brain does in more depth. And here's the general gist. Your frontal lobe, your precortex, is basically your thinking brain. Your temporal lobe really deals more with memories, vision, hearing, input. Your brain stem controls your heart rate, respiratory rate, blood pressure, those autonomic functions. Your cerebellum has to do with reflex, learning and development of motor skills, balance and coordination, and muscle memory. Then there's your occiput and parietal lobes. The limbic system is where your feelings and emotions are generated from. You're welcome to pause and read what the different parts of your limbic system does, and we're going to be focusing on the amygdala. It's your emotional core, your fight or flight zone. You possess a left and a right amygdala. It's small, almond shaped, and it exerts extraordinary power. It's hardwired to respond to unsafe people and unsafe situations. It's so very powerful that it controls other parts of the brain to keep you safe. It can shut down your prefrontal cortex, which is your thinking logical brain, and increase your heart rate, breathing, blood pressure, etc. in your cerebellum. What did that genie say on that Disney movie? Phenomenal cosmic powers, itty bitty living space. That's your amygdala. You can pause here as well and read what the left amygdala is in charge of versus the right. The collaboration between the limbic system and the frontal lobe is an amazing aspect of human brain function, highlighting how emotions from the amygdala and the logical prefrontal cortex intersect each other. So you can see the limbic system, which includes the all-powerful amygdala, is crucial for processing emotions and memories, often triggering immediate instinctual reactions to perceived threats. Again, the amygdala can and does dominate brain activity, leading to intense emotional responses that can overshadow the logical reasoning side. So the idea that you should ignore your feelings and emotion really is absurd, and that people keep trying to press that makes no sense to me. Your feelings and emotions are telling you something critical to protect you. We're taught to believe that our brains should work in a linear fashion and that we don't truly have the power to affect our environment. We're just reacting to the way our environment affects us, and that's not true. Thoughts actually come and go. And yes, your thoughts may evoke feelings and thus emotions, and you get to choose whether you're going to respond or react. You get to choose your behaviors in a given situation or with an encounter with another person. Now, let's look at the triangle. If you want to know more about the CBT triangle, check out therapistaid.com. When you understand that you have the power to affect your environment, it changes everything. Let me put it this way. The logical thinking part of your brain has sense enough to shut up when your amygdala is speaking. There are brain scans and studies that show people who are narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths have either a smaller limbic systems, particularly their amygdala, and or they have an atrophied area. Your amygdala can also take over areas such as your hypothalamus, which releases corticosteroids and adrenaline when you're not safe. And these are some of the effects of stress on the body. So now we start to understand why our brain requires deep breaths, hydration, the proper food in order for us to be selfful. And because we're learning how to use 555 breathing, the hydration and relaxation techniques, we are making it so much easier for you to be able to take these lessons and vet properly, because now you understand how your brain is working and that you can choose to use muscle relaxation, PMR, or deep breathing and water to calm those areas and imagery to calm those areas in your brain so that you can stop and center yourself no matter what the situation is or the person in your environment is. By using these check-in techniques, we're giving our brain the rest, relaxation, the proper nutrition and hydration that is required for us to make great and powerful choices and decisions on our own behalf. And I want you to be able to trust your instincts. It's very important. that you learn how to trust your feelings and your instincts, as it will make vetting that much more powerful for you. Don't forget to check in.